Listen again and fill in the blanks.
Today, let's take a closer look at pop art. Pop art was one of the major visual art movements of the 20th century. It started in Britain in the 1950s and spread to America in the 1960s. Earlier abstract expressionists drew in a highly personal manner. But in pop art, themes were drawn objectively. Everyday objects such as comic strips, soda bottles, and road signs were used as subject matter. The art style was similar to that used in media, advertising, and other types of commercial art. Pop artists attempted to create art that everyone could understand. They wanted to blend art and life and make art more meaningful in our daily lives. One of the most well-known pop artists is Andy Warhol. His painting of a big can of Campbell's tomato soup and multicolored print paintings of celebrities probably ring a bell. Andy Warhol worked as a commercial illustrator in New York City for about 10 years. In the 1960s, he began painting famous American products and celebrities. He became famous when in 1962, he exhibited various paintings of mass-produced goods such as Campbell's soup cans and Coca-Cola bottles. In 1963, he began using photographic silkscreen prints to make portraits of the same image in various colors. His multicolor, multi-image portrait of the beautiful actress Marilyn Monroe is a famous image of his time. Through his silkscreen technique, Andy Warhol was able to mass-produce his own art. It became his trademark way of portraying and also criticizing modern mass consumer culture.
Listen to a conversation between a teacher and a student.
That was very good, Rachel. I think you're ready to play on stage.
Thanks, Mr. Jones. I just hope I don't mess up.
What do you mean?
It's just that I have gotten stage fright and ended up performing badly. Whenever I am on stage, my hands get all sweaty and my stomach feels queasy. My heart starts racing and I feel like I can't breathe. I think to myself, oh, here we go again. It's really frustrating because I feel like I could do well if only I didn't get so nervous.
Stage fright is quite natural. The stress of performing on stage makes our bodies feel danger, and this produces adrenaline in our bodies, which speeds up our body movements and makes our senses more alert. It can make us panic and want to run away. But if you can learn to slow down and focus on this energy, it can actually help you perform better.
Really? How?
Well, you have to remember to breathe deeply. Taking deep breaths will help calm your nerves. And you have to think positively. You have to tell yourself, I can do this. I'm well prepared and ready. It doesn't matter if I make a few mistakes. The important thing is to do the best that I can.
Thanks for your advice, but that's really easier said than done.
I understand. Like your music, getting control of your fear takes practice too. Here's what I want you to do. From now on, don't practice just your music. Do dry runs on your own. That means practicing everything from waiting backstage to walking on stage and performing your music. You have to concentrate and imagine that you are really performing. If you do this correctly, you are bound to get similar feelings of stage fright. Practice responding to them the way that I taught you. Let me know how it goes.
That sounds like a good idea. I will try that. Thanks.
1. What are the speakers mainly talking about? 2. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Whenever I am on stage, my hands get all sweaty and my stomach feels queasy. My heart starts racing and I feel like I can't breathe. I think to myself, oh, here we go again. It's really frustrating because I feel like I could do well if only I didn't get so nervous.
What does the student mean when she says this?
Oh, here we go again.
3. Why does the student say this?
Thanks for your advice, but that's really easier said than done.
Four. What will the student probably do next? Listen to a lecture in a literature class. Virginia Woolf is considered an important figure in 20th century literature. To begin today's lecture on Virginia Woolf, let's take a brief look at her personal history. Born in 1882, she was educated at home by her father, Sir Leslie Stephen, a famous literary critic. In 1912, she married a writer and critic of economics, Leonard Woolf. Together in 1917, they set up Hogarth Press, which published many famous literary works. Unfortunately, Virginia Woolf suffered from mental illness her entire life. On March 28, 1941, she drowned herself in a river near her home. As a novelist, Virginia Woolf contributed to a change in the form of the novel, and as an essayist, she strongly expressed feministic views. Now, go over the three of her most famous works: Mrs. Dalloway, To the Lighthouse, and A Room of One's Own. Mrs. Dalloway, a 1925 novel, details a day in the life of Clarissa Dalloway in a post-World War I England. Woolf uses the stream of consciousness technique, where the plot is focused on expressing the thoughts and feelings of the characters. The plot goes back and forth in time and moves from the mind of one character to another. In this way, Woolf allows us to draw a complete image of Clarissa's life and the social structure of that period. Like many of Woolf's other novels, some parts are autobiographical. A wounded war hero named Septimus Smith, who has mental illness and depression, reminds us of Woolf. To the Lighthouse dates from 1927. The novel is separated into three parts: The Window, Time Passes, and The Lighthouse. It follows the Ramsay family on their visits to the summer home over a 10-year period. Also using the stream of consciousness technique, there is little dialogue and almost no action in the novel. A Room of One's Own is an essay first published in 1929. In this essay, Woolf uses the framework of feminism to emphasize that women are treated differently and have fewer opportunities to become writers. To show her point, Woolf creates a fictional figure named Judith, William Shakespeare's sister. Woolf makes us think, what if Judith has the same talents as William Shakespeare? Would she have been given the same opportunities to write plays? Woolf describes why it would have been nearly impossible for Judith to become a famous playwright. Although times have changed, many women today can probably still identify with what Woolf says in this essay. Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer. 1. How does the teacher develop the topic? 2. According to the lecture, what is true about Virginia Woolf? 3. What is the similarity between Mrs. Dalloway and To the Lighthouse? 4. Why does the teacher say this? A wounded war hero named Septimus Smith, who has mental illness and depression, reminds us of Woolf. 5. Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question. To show her point, Woolf creates a fictional figure named Judith, William Shakespeare's sister. Woolf makes us think, what if Judith has the same talents as William Shakespeare? Would she have been given the same opportunities to write plays? Why does the teacher say this? Would she have been given the same opportunities to write plays?